And we start off with the Chanditan movie Davil, in which pretty much a group of people are trapped in an elevator, and there may be a supernatural entity on the elevator, potentially the Davil, and scary things happen in this claustrophobic room, and oh my god. Yeah, it's some pretty good stuff. It's honestly not a bad movie. I enjoyed an okay amount. I've seen it once before, and it's just one of those movies that it was okay. It's decently short. It's only like an 80-minute movie, so it's not like you're losing a bunch of time with it, and it's mildly entertaining. There's a little mystery going on. Some of it's sort of just red herring type stuff because it doesn't really matter at the end, but and there's some elements I don't care for. Is some of the theological stuff I can do without, but I guess the movie was called Devil, so what can I do?
Well, I saw this one in the theaters when it came out, and look, I actually don't mind this movie. It's one of the things that I know I've said this before when we've discussed other movies. I kind of appreciate when a movie knows its runtime. This one's also fairly short. I think it's 75 minutes, give or take. And it definitely didn't need to really go any longer than it did. It's a decent movie. It's not great. I'm certainly not going to argue with anyone who didn't enjoy it all that much, because I think at the end of the day, there's not a lot here. I mean, they're stuck in an elevator. Few things happen, and we've got a little bit of suspense maybe on, is it really the devil or is it just some crazy person in the elevator? But I think after a little while, you don't even need to wait for the conclusion to really know. But I'm just amused that if you want to know if there's a devil nearby, all you have to do is flip your jelly-covered toast over and see which side it falls on.
Yeah, that seemed. There were a few. That one guy in particular, I think it was Ramirez, who was just a religious security guard type guy. He was. Some of the things he said were a bit iffy. I think one of the lines was, the devil doesn't do anything in secret. Does that mean other people that were murdered with no witnesses wasn't the work of the devil? It just seems inconsistent to me. But I suspect some of this movie may not be. Let me rephrase this. It may not be the deepest look into theological differences. It seems a lot of this seems like on the surface type stuff. The devil is evil, and in fact, even the closing line. If there's a devil, there must be a God. Like, oh boy, that really helped here. I don't see the comfort, but then again, this is sort of outside of my theological realm. I did appreciate many of the performances. The central performances are pretty decent. I especially liked the older woman, played by Johnny O'Hara, who was also in Wishmaster from some time ago. And she has a pretty fun performance, and pretty much anybody in the elevator is decent, even though we don't know a whole lot about any of them. The black guy, God, what's his name? Bokeem Woodbine, he was also a pretty fun character. I like the claustrophobic element thrown in there. So, I know it's a pretty decent little movie. There's not enough here to really blow me away. And I think that's I wouldn't say main issue, but it's like it just sort of skirts around average, I think. There's like no standout scenes, for instance. I don't know, was anything like particularly standing out to you in this one? It's just like all pretty okay.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's all pretty okay. I had a decent time with it. I think the most shocking thing in the movie is that I'm surprised no one had to take a shit. Being trapped in an elevator for quite some time, I mean, that'd be the scariest thing for me to happen.
Yes. I forget. I mean, they were only stuck there for what, maybe 2.5 hours? It doesn't really say.
Well, yeah, it's hard to really know because, I mean, we never quite get a feel for how long the events of the movie go. We know it's all in the same day, but aside from that, we don't know if it's 2 hours, 5 hours.
Yeah, I do have to say, without revealing anything, I didn't really much care for the ending. Once we found out who one of the characters is, and has like a a personal connection to one of the cops in the case. I'm like, oh god, like it didn't seem to, at least to me, it didn't really add much to the movie, and it didn't really add much to the conclusion either.
It's one of those twists that tries to make the movie look smart, but at the end of the day, it wasn't even really necessary.
Yeah, I feel like half the people probably would have seen something like that coming anyway. Although about the ending, this is like a really small scene, but it sort of cracked me up in a sad. So once they finally get the elevator open and they notice that one of the people in the elevator is missing, the main cop is like sort of frantically like throws his partner to the side, like, hey, go find this individual. And, like, I don't know where that guy's going, but he's like running up to the side, and I mean, if somebody disappears out of an elevator, they're probably not in the building anymore.
Yeah. Or they're climbing up the elevator.
Yeah,
through
I
the
mean,
roof or something. I don't know.
I will say I'm pretty, I guess, happy with the way that they used the elevator. Like I said, it's a pretty, small claustrophobic space, and I thought there was pretty good tension throughout. I could have done without some of the flickering lights and oh my god, scary faces and stuff. Speaking of which, when that one guy's trying to say, hey, tell him about the face. Dude, I'm not going to tell him about the face. That was a sort of funny conversation.
I could have done with that guy being just a little bit more Mexican. Be like, when he sees the face, hola guacamole, I told you ese. And
a little more,
ole.
that might be a little more stereotypically Mexican. That would have given this movie a little more, I guess, feeling, I guess. I guess you could have pitched it to whoever wrote this.
Right at the beginning, there's that one scene where the guy gets told about the, I guess he's trying to fix the elevator. There's one moment where he goes right on to the top of the building and his hat flies off and over the side of the building. He goes chasing it. Jesus Christ, that was probably the toughest scene for me because I wouldn't say... I do have somewhat fear of heights, I guess. I don't have any problem going up high as long as I know I'm in kind of like a closed area. But if I was like on the edge of a building or something, that would freak me the fuck out.
Yeah, when that scene came on, like I said, I've seen this before, but it's been a while. And that scene, just running after the hat, I'm like, oh god, like his hat's like right at the ledge. I mean, that's probably honestly the most, at least the scene in this movie which most had me on edge. I don't see why I did it. But yes.
And they usually have like gravel or something on the top there where you can actually kind of slide if, so yeah, I don't want to slide off the edge or anything.
Yeah, that would have been unfortunate. Speaking of which, well, I forget off the top of my head what happened to that guy.
He falls down while he's
falls
down
the
elevator shaft.
He was that guy. So, yes, good stuff. Speaking of which, when they could hear the radio above them, the people in the elevator, and the guys were like, hey, let's switch to a different station, I would have been so pissed. Like, hey, I would like to hear this conversation.
You want some more of that elevator music?
Now, what's your favorite elevator?
What's my favorite elevator? You mean the one that goes up and down?
Yes. You have a personal favorite in your life.
Definitely not ones inspected by, what is it, G. Carson?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, any elevator not inspected by that guy is my favorite elevator.
That is a good choice. Yeah, so I think Daredevil is a decent movie. It doesn't entirely do that much for me, mainly because some of the story elements I just don't care for. I wish they had gone with maybe more of a down-to-earth type movie as opposed to the type of movie they went for. I get it. It's not like it's a bad movie, but it's there's not enough boom here. There's some decent scenes, but nothing like that blows you away. I'm thinking just and this might change later, but right now I'm thinking just a straight 7 out of 10, just like around average. It's not good, it's not bad, it just sort of is.
Yeah, I'm giving it the same score, 7 out of 10, all up in this bitch. Yeah, it's a decent movie. It, it's one of those movies you watch and a week later you've forgotten about it, but you had a decent time watching it. And that's about it. I guess one other question before we go on to the next movie. Would you have still eaten that piece of toast after it fell on the ground?
I'm going to say no, mainly because just no.
Okay. This review is now complete.
I like how you didn't answer the question yourself, so does that mean you would have eaten the toast?
If I was hungry enough.
I mean, okay, it's fine. You do what you have to do.